let's talk a little bit about economics. There is this general Republican economic fear-mongering that exists in many areas. So, for example, the right will tell you if you don't cut taxes for the rich, or if you raise them, really bad things will happen. Well, no, actually, trickle-down economics makes no sense. We've debunked it many, many times. If you raise the minimum wage reasonably, not to $200 an hour, but reasonably, it's going to kill jobs. Well, no, actually, we've seen that in San Francisco County, even within the fast food sector, the minimum wage has been raised above and beyond what is actually required by the state of California. It has had no negative impact on jobs. And we heard from the right that if you pass paid sick leave, jobs will be killed. Well, the great thing is we now have data about this. In 2013, the New York City Council decided to go against what then Mayor Michael Bloomberg wanted, and they passed something called the Earned Sick Time Act. In 2014, under Mayor Bill de Blasio, the law was expanded to cover all businesses with at least 5 workers, as opposed to just 15 workers as previously required. The initial passage of this law and its modification in 2014 were both fear-mongered about by the right-wingers, saying this is going to kill jobs. This will prevent jobs in New York City from being created. Well, we now have several years of data to look at to see if the prediction was true. I'm going to cut to the punchline for you. It wasn't true. According to a new paper from the Center for Economic and Policy Research, mandatory paid sick time was basically a non-event, even though more than 3 in 4 employees at the surveyed firms made use of paid sick leave in 2005. What is underlying this? Well, there are a number of really, really interesting findings. Number one, workplace illness, big picture, is actually not a big problem, right? So by giving employees paid sick leave, because employee illness is not a huge issue, fortunately, it actually didn't really impact hiring. It didn't really impact businesses in a negative way. Number two, most employers already offer paid sick leave without having been required to do so by the law. So most companies, the law changes and says you now have to offer paid sick leave. Most companies say, well, we were already doing that. It doesn't affect us at all. And lastly, and this actually isn't good, the study determined that workers go to work sick just as often when you have paid sick leave as when you don't. And that's actually a really bad thing. You don't want your employees coming in sick. Forcing people to come into work sick is a bad idea all the way around. They get other employees sick. They will work below their productivity because they are ill. They're going to prolong their illness rather than be resting. So very, very interesting data here. The highlight for me is the Republican economic fear-mongering did not come true, and that has sort of become expected in many ways. But the other interesting aspect of this, that whether or not you have mandatory paid sick time, employees come to work, and they will come to work sick in many cases, and that is actually not a good thing.